The beautiful journey of today can only begin when we learn to let go of yesterday. For as long as he could remember, he went from house to house, trying to please his new parents and his new siblings, but to no avail. Every time the new family would give him right back to the adoption shelter within the same week. He would cry as he went from house to house, feeling unloved and unwanted. Yet going from house to house led to new journeys for this young boy. No matter what happened at these houses, he always looked at it positively. But one day, this amazing family adopted him. He was so overjoyed, yet confused with the family wanting him. Why him? He sat in the mirror and combed his light brown hair, smiling wide as his natural dark brown highlights showed through, making his emerald green eyes pop out more, and adding a small twinkle of joy and innocence to his face. He ran his fingers over the dimple that had formed itself on his right cheek. The social worker cleared her throat and joyously asked, "Ready to meet your new family?" He nodded his head violently, grabbing his bag and darting to the door as the social worker stands there, chuckling at how adorable and excited this little 9-year-old is. The child ran towards the lobby. The social worker followed him. "This is it. This is going to be the family I stay with forever. I'm going to be on my best behavior for them. Oh, I hope they like me. I can't wait to start this new journey." He ran to the lobby, his heart pounding like crazy, and that butterfly feeling coming to his stomach. Again, this happened every time he went to meet his new family. He walked into the lobby and stopped dead in his tracks. There was an older lady with a blondish white curly hair surrounding her soft, gentle face. She smiled as they locked eyes, and he returned the favor by smiling wide back at her. His social worker caught up to him and rested her hand on his shoulder as she led him toward the lady. "Here he is," she exclaimed, gesturing towards the boy, as if he was surprised the lady had just won. "Hello," the lady mumbled, kneeling down in front of him. He smiled as the smell of delicious food and candies filled his nose. "My name is Mama Barbara, but you can call me Mama, if you want to," she chimed as she tapped her fingers on his nose. "Hi," he mumbled, looking at the ground, then back up her. "I'm Tommy." "Well, that's a very handsome name, Tommy," Mama replied. That made him blush a little. He'd never been called handsome before. "You two seem like you get along very well." Tommy's social worker being clapping her hands together once before going behind a desk to get some papers. Tommy couldn't help but stare at Barbara as she smiled and grabbed a pen, signing the papers and talking to his social worker. "Seems so nice. For once, I think I found a home." He grew up in this home with Mama Barbara, who he called Mama, her brother Uncle Steve, and Uncle Steve's son Billy. He enjoyed his new home and his new family, except sometimes Uncle Steve was a little mean to Tommy and Billy. Ever since he was young, he would ride his bike around the neighborhood, and eventually, as he got older, he would travel farther and farther on his bike until he rode all the way to the other side of the city. On his 16th birthday, he was supposed to be a good day, maybe the best one of his life so far, but it was a mess. Everything was a mess. His whole life came crashing down on his 16th birthday. His cousin, whom he thought of as an older brother, had died from a car accident caused by a drunk Uncle Steve. Uncle Steve was in the hospital in critical condition. From that point, Mama Barbara fell into a deep depression at the loss of all her family memories. Even Tommy couldn't bring her out of it. Tommy was sad at his new house now. No more love or care from Mama, or anyone, for that matter. So he decided he would leave and run away from home. He would ride his bike from Mansfield, Connecticut to New York, to his best friend's house. When Tommy was 14, his best friend from school had moved away to New York. They texted each other every day, talking about their life. So he packed his bag with bottles of water and food, and typed in an address on his phone's Google Maps. 34 to 35 hours. According to his Google Maps, simple enough. But that's not including when he stops riding and sleeps. He sighed. About 2 days, he contemplated as he looked over the trails highlighted on his phone map. He texted his friend telling him his plan, and his friend argued with him for a bit. Then he gave up and told him to be careful. He pedaled out of the garage and down the street, all the way to the highway. He paused for a moment to look down at the road the car was driving. Now he thought, my new journey begins, and he shook off down the highway.